I think we're back. I don't know if my chat's gonna be back. We'll find out. It's loading. Hold up. I'll close it. Yeah. What a pain in the butt. I don't know what happened. Chat. Let's do that. Loading. Okay, chat is up and running. Cool. All right. I should be on YouTube here in a minute. Will be probably a different stream though. Yep, I'm online on both. I do see one person watching on D Live. That's good. I swear that's a pain in the butt. I'm gonna check my YouTube just to make sure I didn't get in any trouble. That was weird. Why am I getting desktop audio? Geld's back. Yeah, it's a new stream. Oh man. There's nothing really I can do when it's on my end. If it's on YouTube's end, it'll just start up again, which is really nice, but that one was on my end right before I came on to YouTube to do this. Right, I get close to the computer to set up my stream, and it says, "Oh, you need to update Windows." And I was like, "Well, I'll do that after my stream because sometimes that takes a while, and I need to get this shit together." Yeah, and that didn't really work out that well, did it? I don't know if that's the reason or what, or if my computer just needs to restart. But thank you everybody for joining back. We have 4 people: Riddle and Gerald and 2 others. I do appreciate it. We're gonna continue to watch the Mark Dice video. I am gonna rewind it just a little bit. Something happened. We got booted. I think it was OBS. OBS just kind of crashed on me, and it has done that before, but it's been a while. As I said earlier, I need to have like I need to go through my C drive and clean it up. I don't know. I got to do something about that. Thank you, Lee, for coming back. Everybody else. All right. I think we got pretty much everybody back. So we're going to go ahead and start again. We're not all the way from the beginning, no. But I'm guessing, well, you know what, just in case, because that was a pretty powerful thing. Let me go back.
Peacefully protest against matter would have probably burnt the White House down by now. But since Antifa are the foot soldiers and enforcers of the Marxist Democrat Party's policies, they'll be violently opposing anybody who peacefully protests against these new mandates. This overbearing abuse of power by Biden is probably going to make people more resistant to taking the vaccine. And what's happening over in Australia certainly isn't helping either. Here's one of their...
I'm Ronry. I'm Ronry. I'm sad and I'm Ronry a Ron. I don't know how that one goes. RG Homestead, dude, it has been a minute. I was wondering what happened to you. I seen you over at Broken Patriots chats every once in a while. I usually don't catch his live, unfortunately, and I'd seen that your comment. I'm like, holy shit, it's been a minute since RG Homestead's been in. Well, thank you for being here, and I do appreciate it. All right.
Chief medical officers.
We will be looking at what contact tracing looks like in the New World Order. In the New World Order.
The New World Order, huh? I thought that was just another conspiracy theory. I'm actually surprised that old Joe didn't demand that the FAA mandate the vaccine for people to fly. That announcement's probably coming in the next few weeks because they'll be sure to try to ruin everybody's Thanksgiving or Christmas if they're not vaccinated.
That is going to be the case. Not only are they going to try to get you to lose your job right before the holidays, but they're going to make, I would not be surprised. I'm not going to predict anything, but let's just say I would not be surprised if they really crack down before the holidays. You want to see your mother and father for Christmas, or do you not? Because you're not going to be able to travel or do something else or go to the store if you don't have your certification of vaccination. Right? Twitter tried to fact check that and swept it under the carpet as a conspiracy. Wait, what? What? The New World Order thing that she said? Or that flights are going to require stuff? Yeah, RG, did you get sick? Doing better with time? That's good to know. Damn. Well, I mean, she just said it. How do you fact check and remove something that she obviously said?
And notice how the mainstream media won't even acknowledge why so many people are hesitant to take the vaccine. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not trying to dissuade anybody from taking it. I'm not trying to persuade anybody to take it. I don't
Sorry to
give
hear that,
medical advice.
RJ.
I'm a media analyst. And what none of the TV doctors or pundits want to discuss is the legitimate concern that people have about any possible long-term side effects from this mRNA vaccine, which is a new technology, or even the Johnson & Johnson viral vector technology, which actually has been used in a vaccine in the past, in the Ebola vaccine back in 2013. But the mRNA vaccine is new. And with numerous drugs that were once fully approved by the FDA, later pulled from the market after unforeseen side effects were discovered, drugs that were heavily advertised on television, by the way, only to be replaced with ads from law firms advertising class action lawsuits to collect damages from the people who were prescribed those drugs, you can't help but understand why so many people are skeptical about a vaccine that's brand new. And what's also disturbing about these mandates is there's no exception for people who have natural immunity, for those who have come down with the coronavirus and developed the antibodies. And some studies show that up to 40% of the people who've had the coronavirus were asymptomatic. So many people don't even know that they've had it, but have the antibodies. And those would show up in an antibody test, which any reasonable person would think would then allow somebody to be exempt from a mandatory vaccine because they already have the protection. One study even estimated that 30% of Americans had caught the coronavirus by the end of last year, which means that there are millions and millions of people out there who had the virus and didn't even know it, still don't know it, but have the antibodies. And I've been around long enough to remember the swine flu back in 2009 when Dr. Oz, the popular television doctor, was on CNN promoting the new vaccine, but then admitted that he wasn't going to give it to his own kids.
A national campaign to vaccinate tens of millions of Americans against the H1N1 or swine flu, as you know it, kicked off today. There's a new poll out from the Harvard School of Public Health that only 40% of adults say they are absolutely certain they're going to get the vaccine. That means most of the country is not. It's either on the fence or they're not going to do it. The reasons they're giving is they're concerned about possible side effects from the vaccine. They don't think they're at risk of serious illness, and they think that if they do get it, that they're going to be able to get Tamiflu or Relenza or one of these medicines. I mean, aren't those valid reasons to maybe skip it?
With regard to risks, there is no question, Campbell. It would be dishonest to say that we know for sure the vaccine is going to be safe for everybody. You give a vaccine to a couple 100 million people, there are going to be problems. And we won't even know if those problems are related to the vaccine.
Swine flu.
But to be fair to many Americans who are concerned, there's probably going to be some issues that arise with the vaccine, but we think they're going to be exceedingly rare. Even if they're as bad as they were in 1976 with the immunization given with the swine flu that resulted in Guillain-Barré, the incidence of getting that wasn't that much different from getting hit by lightning. The proverbial risk factor most of us shy away from.
You are telling a mother who is trying to decide myself whether to get my kids vaccinated when the time comes, and I'm reading that's 51% of parents, only 51% are absolutely certain. I'll be honest, I'm in that 50% that isn't absolutely certain. So how do you convince me? How do you convince the other parents out there that we need to do this?
Campbell, I'm going to get it.
Yes.
If that helps at all, but I'll tell you, my wife is not getting immunized our kids. Because I've got 4 of them, and when I go home, I'm not Dr. Oz, I'm Mr. Oz. But I'll tell you, my wife is not getting immunized our kids. Because I've got 4 of them, and when I go home, I'm not Dr. Oz, I'm Mr. Oz.
So this guy's such a genius doctor that he's on television giving everybody medical advice, promoting the vaccine, but he won't overrule his wife's decision not to vaccinate their kids because
he
when
won't
he gets
allow
home,
his
he's
wife to do
Mr.
it. That's
Oz,
how that
not
sounded.
Dr. Oz. And again,
Although
I'm not
I
an anti-vaxxer. I'm not trying to discourage people to
could
take
be
the
either
vaccine.
way.
I'm not encouraging it. I don't give medical advice. I believe that every American has the right to listen to all available information and weigh their risks and options and make a decision that they themselves are comfortable with. And I believe that individuals have that right. I don't believe that the government has a right to force healthcare onto individuals that they don't want for whatever reason. At this point, Texas should just secede, and other Republican states, they can join together and just continue to call themselves the United States of America, because Joe Biden and the Democrat states definitely aren't American anymore. Something else that should happen is Dr. Fauci should be arrested, and if you agree...
All right, so that's that video. We watched it. All right, Gerald's got plenty of smoke if we go visit Gerald. Oh, Riddle wants us to be adopted. Okay. Yeah. So you must take some years off then, I guess, of growing one thing and then just grow something different because that's pretty cool. We didn't really talk about that, but that's a really interesting thing, Gerald. Obviously, I know about cycling your crops in order to keep the land nutrient rich. Uh, but yeah, that's cool. Love to know more about that. All right, there's a poll out. Apparently, Americans far more worried about protection of rights under Biden. Big shocker. Are you more worried about your rights under Biden than you were under Trump? I mean, Trump wasn't a great president, but Biden's outdoing it like by leaps and bounds. 10 years after 9/11 attacks, Americans were reasonably positive that their state of their rights and civil liberties. Today, after 20 years, not so much. Well, a lot of people didn't even give a shit about the Patriot Act. They're like, oh, yeah, Patriot Act is amazing. Let's get the NSA involved on that. But now it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more in your face. And I believe it is that slow pot boiling and that frog because each time seems a little bit worse than the last time. Anyway, that's according to a poll by the Associated Press. It builds on work conducted in 2011, 1 decade after the pivotal moment in U.S. history. Some questions were also asked on polls conducted in 2013 and 2015. Americans were relatively united around the idea that the government did a good job protecting many basic rights a decade after the terrorist attacks, which produced a massive overhaul of the country's intelligence services and creation of agencies such as the Department of Homeland Security. Along with those changes came creeping concern about government overreach, although Americans as a whole remain fairly positive. Yes, I seen that myself. I was in that America, world's fine, Patriot Act's fine. Then I started talking to these yahoos on the YouTubes, and they started telling me, no, man, check out the Patriot Act, see what they can do to you legally, and you could be held without trial. No, it's the United States. Well, I have a constitutional right. Dude, they made it a law that says that they can hold you indefinitely if they think you're a tourist. Nah, never happened. Never happened. But guess what? It happened. They're still in jail. No trial. Along with those changes, the attitude has eroded over the years, with far fewer people now saying the government is doing a good job protecting rights, including freedom of speech. Thank you. The right to vote, the right to bear arms, and others. For example, the poll finds that 45% of Americans now say they think the U.S. government is doing a good job defending freedom of speech. 45%. I'm surprised it's that high. You know what it is? If they did it while Joe Biden's president, those were all the Democrats, I would imagine. All the people that, have like puppies and kittens on their YouTube channels or cooking shows. Compared with 32% who now says it's doing a poor job and 23% who say neither. Okay, so it's 23% are tuned out. The share saying the government is doing a good job down from 71% in 2001 to 45%. That is a huge drop. And from 59% in 2015, Dee Gittles, 73, a retiree in Chamberlain, South Dakota, said she was frustrated at the government's apparent lack of ability to safeguard the amount of private information available, especially online. Don't really want to read that. More Americans now think the government is doing a poor job than a good job at protecting one's right to equal protection under the law. 49% to 27% in 2011. The opinions were reversed, with more people saying the government was doing a good job than a poor one, 48% to 37%. The poll also finds that 54% of Americans say it's sometimes necessary for the government to sacrifice some rights and freedoms to fight terrorism. That's a problem. 54% of the United States are okay giving up some of their freedoms for safety. Alleged perceived safety. Wow. Compared to 64 a decade ago. Okay, so in 2011, it was even worse by 10%. And that does make sense. I mean, we had Barack Obama. Nobody was giving a shit about the Patriot Act. The NSA, what's that? Now, 44% say that it's never necessary at all. I count me in the 44%. That That's a good number. 44% say never violate my rights. I don't care what ends justify the means, because they don't. All right. You just grow different strains. Okay. You say strands. Other people say strains. I don't understand it. I'm working on raising my bed box and using the old fence. Right on, dude. The bed box, or the garden bed. I'm guessing, yeah, raised bed. Those things are nice, especially as you get a little older. Am I right? You don't have to bend down as much. Yeah, that is cool. Not to mention, it's a good security device. Irish USMC vet has told me that that's something that I should look into and count it as barriers or cover if necessary, which is really cool. I hope to learn more about that on my trip. This year we didn't plant the veggie garden, just the greens. LOL. Yeah, well, not really, but really have the time with the ankle stuff. What's up, Mule Team? How you doing? Hey, Sting. RG, 9/11 was an inside job. Osama bin Laden, one America is a wholly lost nation. It is. Absolutely. I'm interested to see what comes out of this, though, because I don't think every part of America is a lost cause, but America as an experiment, as a corporation, as a country, as whatever, insert here, I think that is going to be changing really soon, sooner rather than later. But we didn't buy cases of canned veg. Well, you did buy cases of canned veggies. I like canning them myself, to be honest. I think I'm more in control with what I put in that. I do the process myself, so I know exactly what's in on that. And if you look at, I'm not saying all, I'm sure there's plenty of good canned veggies, but they put so many things in so many different things. I don't think I've actually looked in a long time, so I can't really say that they do add anything extra into the canned veggies in the store. But the way they add so much to so many things that you buy that you'd think is just what it is. A Dorito chip? How about a Lay's potato chip? Okay. What do you need to make a potato chip? Potato, oil, salt. Why is there sugar in there? Why is there all sorts of words that I cannot pronounce? So I like to do it myself. You'll never comply? Me neither. Then you have the puppet as president. What you get? Yeah. Well, some would disagree with you, RG. So I didn't vote that way. And I'm sure there's a lot of dead people that might be upset the way they voted. That's a joke, YouTube. It's a joke. Thinking about it, building a bunch of raised beds. I would. There's a lot of reasons to do it, and they're all good. I suppose there might be some bad I don't know of any, though. A majority of Democrats say it's sometimes necessary to sacrifice your rights for freedom. For safety, which is largely consistent with the previous AP NORC polls. But Republicans are now closely divided, with 46% saying it's sometimes necessary. This is in with Republicans. And 53% saying it is never necessary. In 2011, 69% of Republicans said it was sometimes necessary, and 62% said the same in 2015. So it's steadily going down. Started at 69%, went down to 62%, now it's 53%. Brandon Wilson, 23, I don't care about the story. Let's see. The poll asked about a variety of rights and liberties, including many of those outlined explicitly in the Constitution Bill of Rights, as well as several protected by law and court rulings. It finds 44% now says the government is doing a good job protecting the freedom of the press. Wow. Compared to with 26% who think the government is doing a poor job. In both 2011 and 2015, about 6 in 10 said the government was doing a good job about protecting the freedom of press. Americans are equally divided about how the government is doing at protecting the freedom from unreasonable searches and seizures. About 1/3 says it's doing a good job, and about 1/3 says it's doing a poor job. In 2011 and 15, views were slightly more positive than negative, though less than half of all Americans said the country was doing a good job. All right, let's see. Tony Gay, 60, a retiree who lives in Cincinnati, said that he generally supported the government's moves to protect civil liberties. He said 10 years of Army service helped reinforce his opinion that sacrifice is sometimes necessary to safeguard freedoms. Yeah, okay. You can't have your freedom 24/7 if there's no one there to protect it. What were we protecting by going in Afghanistan? When is the last time that us as a nation got into any kind of altercation to protect our freedom here in the United States? I'm thinking hard on this one because I've never asked this question. This is not a hypothetical. This is an actual question that I'm now trying to figure out what my answer is to. I think what the War of 1812. I think it might have been the War of 1812. Wow. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that. Let's see. So when they put restrictions on travel, I'm all for that because it's to make sure that I am safe and make sure that a person next to me is safe. 43% of Americans think the US government is doing a good job protecting the right to vote, while 37% is doing a poor job. By comparison, 70% said that it was doing a good job in 2015, and 84% said the same in 2011. 2011, 84% thought the votes counted. In 2015, that dropped to 70% right before the election. And now 37% say it's doing a poor job. Wait. By comparison, said it was doing a good job. Okay, so yeah, those are different numbers. Americans are now divided on whether the government is doing a good or poor job protecting the right to bear arms. 35% to 36%. But in 2011, more said it was doing a good job than a poor one. Really? During the Obama administration? 57 to 27%. Democrats are more likely than Republicans to say the government is doing a good job of protecting civil rights and freedoms. Well, you should have asked them last year before the election, including the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom of press, and the freedom to keep and bear arms. But Democrats are somewhat more likely than Republicans to say the government is doing a poor job enforcing equal protection under the law. 54% to 46. Views among Democrats and Republicans are largely similar on how well the government is protecting the right to vote, and the views among both have become notably less positive than in earlier polls. Even if he's relatively comfortable with the government's protection of basic civil liberties, Gay says he feels periodic reviews of policies and those making them should be necessary. It's like when you're in politics, you have free reign. It gives me mixed feelings about who's watching over us. Well, personally, if without term limits, there's no reason for them to do anything but what they're doing. Why the hell would they give you back your freedom? If they can say we need to have the Patriot Act to spy on Americans, if we need to have the ability to lock an American citizen up indefinitely without any trial, why would they take that back? You let them do it. You didn't raise hell over it, or if you did, it wasn't enough hell. They got away with it. It's now implemented, and a lot of people aren't on that because they're on the newest news thing. Who knows about the Patriot Act? Shit that happened so fucking long ago. Nobody's even talking about it anymore because it's old news. There's many news stories that we can talk about. Let's talk about Afghanistan. Anyway. All right. Let me get on this. A lot of bending over to trim them. Yeah. You have to read the labels on the canned veggies. The one that I buy are just the veggies, water, and salt. Oh, okay. There are some brands that add colors, preservatives, and things. Yeah, I remember one of them was like mixed fruit, and it's like in a syrup. And I'd never realized that it was in a syrup for some reason until I had one that wasn't. And then I was like, this doesn't taste right. Not a lot of bending over to tend them. We'll have to go make dinner and have a great weekend. All right, RG, if you're still here, I doubt you are, but thank you very much for being here. It's never necessary. Yeah, I know. Ooh. Jobs, the online bartender. What's up, Jobs? Or Josh B? Josh B? Brainwash, please. Avenue Pair. How you doing? This year, the birds got our raspberries and the blackberries, but the raspberries are flowering again. So if we don't get an early frost, oh, that'd be cool. You make jams? You should try to make jams. That would be good. All right, more about the mandates. Fauci characterizes Biden's mandate as a moderate requirement. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna kind of try to get through these kind of quick because with the have to restart the stream and all that, we're kind of behind. Fauci claimed President Joe Biden's sweeping and constitutionality dubious employer mandate isn't extreme at all. In fact, he says it's a moderate requirement. The new rule, which requires employers with more than 100 employees to mandate a shot or require weekly testing, is the result of Biden's frustration with the unshotted Americans, Fauci said. He is clearly frustrated, and understandably so. We have done everything we possibly can do to get people the shot. We have trusted messengers. Yeah. We've deleted a whole bunch of videos and misinformation. We made it easy. It's simple. It's safe. It's free. The data is overwhelming to show why it's so important if we want to get out of this outbreak, or if we want to get this outbreak under control in this country, we got to get people shotted. And the president is understandably frustrated, and that's the reason why he came out with his 6-point plan, he said. Asked whether the mandate is too much of an overreach, Fauci says he believes Biden is being somewhat moderate in his demand, if you want to call it that. And there are some people who really don't want to get the shot, but they don't want to lose their jobs. So you have to give them an off lane. Hold on, guys.
We just heard that Joe Biden's mandating vaccines for 80 million private sector workers. Larry Elder's running for governor in California. The recall election there is on September 14th. He joins us with his reaction. Larry, I don't care what you think of vaccines. You're for them, you're against them. America got a little less free today, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do to change that.
Well, you're right, and I'm not anti-vaccine. I've been vaccinated. I think vaccines do work. I'm in a high-risk category, but a lot of people have made a very different decision. And you're quite right. Freedom ought to stand for something. This is on a collision course to the United States Supreme Court, and I believe that what Joe Biden just now did will be ruled to be unconstitutional. It'll take a while for it to get there, but I think maybe 5-4, maybe even 6-3, it's going to be determined to be unconstitutional, Jesse.
The problem is people in California.
And then they pack it. And then they fucking pack it. Maybe. All right. So Fauci thinks it's fine. Let's move on. Biden to GOP governors threatening legal action. So some of the governors are suing the government. He says, have at it. President Joe Biden dismissed Republicans' threats to take him to court over a sweeping employer shot mandate, saying that they can have it. Have at it. The new rule, which requires employers with more... Yeah, we already know that. Texas Governor Greg Abbott called it an assault on private businesses. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster vowed to fight Biden to the gates of hell. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has banned shot mandates in his state, similarly vowed legal action. How could we get to the point in the country where you want to have someone lose their job because of a choice about getting a shot or not, he said. I do not believe that people should lose their jobs over this issue, and we will fight. If they try to do that through a rule like the Democrat Department of Labor, I don't think they have any legal authority to do that, but we obviously would want to support protections for people who are just trying to earn a living. Biden accused these GOP governors of being cavalier with their citizens' health. How about this? How about you let people be people? If you believe in God, you have another life, or a version of God, right? If you believe in that kind of stuff, you have another life. If you don't, this is the only one you have. Make those decisions for you. Talk to your doctor. Do your research. And I do mean deep dive into it, because your doctor is going to tell you exactly what the pharmaceutical companies want you to hear. So they're going to be like going to a car salesman and saying, what about this car? Well, this is the greatest car ever. This has this, and this. Meanwhile, you should be checking it online for reviews about that car. Do your own research. Decide for yourself. Look, I'm so disappointed that particularly some Republican governors have been so cavalier with the health of these kids, so cavalier with the health of their communities, he said. This is... Pause, because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. We're playing for real here. This isn't a game. Biden also claimed that the GOP's opposition does not matter because the vast majority of American people support the mandate. You know who supports it? Everybody who got the shot. And maybe, actually, you know what? Probably not everybody who got the shot. The people who still don't have the shot, I bet you they don't support it. And the people who do, I would say most of them would support it, but not all of them. I bet you your base supports it, even though they didn't want it when Trump came out with it. I think the vast majority, looking at the polling data, the vast majority of the American people know that we have to do these things. It's hard, but necessary, he claimed. Yeah, fuck you. A recent poll found that 52% of Americans supported businesses mandating shots. 52%. That is troublesome. But guess what? We don't live in a democracy. The wolves don't get to decide what's for dinner. We live in a constitutional republic. Meaning that just because you can outvote me doesn't mean you can take my rights away. What's up, Quantum? I saw his fake ass CDC BS saying that we are at variant L. Really? Apple butter is really good on toast. I bet it is. What's the next? Give me your guns. You're not shot at. Well, actually, if they make this, there are possibilities that if you don't have your mandate, or I mean, if you don't have your card saying that you got it, that you're not going to be able to go on a plane. Now, if you're not able to go on a plane, well, what they'll do is they'll make it, if you don't get the shot, you're going to be on the no-fly list. You can no longer fly. And I bet you they do that right before Christmas or Thanksgiving. All right? No longer can you fly if you don't have the shot. You know what else? Let's go ahead and put in a thing. If you're on the no-fly list, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun. Wait for it. That's coming. This Republican governor supports his mandate. Okay, Vermont. Really? Phil Scott expressed support for President Joe Biden's new mandate this week, making him a rare Republican to back the move. Is it Vermont is for lovers? Yeah, I think it is. Right. Okay. Scott, who has frequently touted his state relatively high sniffle shot rate compared to the rest of the nation, shared his thoughts not long after Biden spoke to the nation on Thursday. I appreciate the president's continued prioritization of shots and the country's recovery as we move forward, Scott wrote on Twitter. As Vermont experience shows, shots work. Do they? And they save lives. Unless they kill you, allegedly. They are the best and fastest way to move past this. Well, unfortunately, Oscar De La Hoya, he got all his shots, and he's in the hospital. Not doing so well last time I heard. They can give me the shot when the body cold up and gun. Yep. Makes a few batches of apple butter every year. Right on. I think I'm going to have to go picking some apples, so we can make some more soon. We had gotten some free apples, like a whole bunch of them that were almost about to rot, and so we'd gotten this apple peeler machine because it was so many. So I was like, let's just do it that way. And she got a vintage one or whatever. We did that. It also slices them, and we canned up a whole bunch of apple pie filling. Absolutely wonderful. In order to use this, all you need is an apple pie crust. You dump that in there. If you put a top on your crust, put a top on it. You put it in the oven until the crust is nice and flaky brown, and that's done. And it's good. It's really good. She said, no, she doesn't. Wait, does Brenda have a good macaroon recipe? Oh, yeah, okay. Republicans urge businesses to openly rebel against the mandate. Republican lawmakers encourage businesses to stand up and protest to Biden's employer mandate. I would imagine not a lot of them will. Biden unveiled the new rule. We already know about that. We have Chip Roy of Texas said businesses should openly rebel. Let's see, where is this? Those businesses should openly rebel against any such rule. We have Rick Scott of Florida. Says, I agree. I encourage American job creators, large and small, to challenge this insane order. We cannot allow this unhinged administration to do even more irreparable harm to American workers, businesses, and our economy. As I said, you have about 30% of people that will not get it. Will not get it. If you lose 30% of the workforce, that actually was working in the first fucking place. Yeah, that's not good. Dan Crenshaw, which I'm not a fan of, says, warned Democrats that their push to force the shots on Americans would backfire. Let's see, are you people trying to start a full-on revolt? Honestly, what the hell is wrong with Democrats? Leave people the hell alone. This is insanity. Several governors also vowed to protect their states' businesses and fight the mandate. This is not a power that is delegated to the federal government. Fuck yeah, states' rights, bitches. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem said, this is a power for states to decide. In South Dakota, we're going to be free, and we're going to make sure that we don't overstep our authority. So we will take action. My legal team is already working, and we will defend and protect our people from this unlawful mandate. Fuck yeah. Arizona weighed in. Governor Ducey also slammed the Biden mandate as unprecedented and dangerous. Didn't say he... How many workers will be displaced? How many kids kept out of the classroom? How many businesses fined? That's not saying he's going to do anything about it. That just says he doesn't agree with it. All right, that's all we have on the mandate news. OSHA is already in process of implementing the plan. I don't doubt it. But it's not done yet. Oh, we lost a few people. That's sad. Stranded Americans, Afghan allies lose hope of escape as Biden's reneges on promises. I am frightened I will be left behind. I don't know what the issue is. It's all a political issue, or do they do not care about us? The latter. Evacuation flights have resumed for Westerners, but thousands of at-risk Afghans who helped the United States are still stranded in their homeland, with the U.S. Embassy shuttered and all American diplomats and troops gone, and the Taliban now in charge. With the United States and the Taliban both insisting on travel documents that may no longer be possible to get in Afghanistan, the plight of those Afghans is testing President Biden's promise to not leave Americans' allies behind. This is not going to be in the story. I really do think they're creating other narratives so that you don't focus on this shit. An evacuation flight out of Kabul on Thursday, run by the Gulf state of Qatar, and the first of its kind since the U.S.-led military evacuations ended in August 30th, focused on U.S. passports and green card holders and other foreigners. From the U.S. lawmakers, veteran groups, to the other Americans who have been scrambling to get former U.S. military interpreters and other at-risk Afghans onto chartered flights get them out, the relaunch of evacuation flights did little to soothe fears the U.S. might abandon countless Afghan allies. In particular worry are those who U.S. special immigrant visas meant for Afghans who helped America during the 20-year war. Still, we are in the works with the Taliban, took Kabul in a lightning offensive on August 15th. U.S. abandoned its embassy building in that same weekend. Wow. There's more on that. If you guys want to read this one, I am going to copy. By the way, if there's ever a story you want to like if I stop early on a story and you wanted to know more about it, please let me know and I'll drop a link into the chat. We're going to run through it a little bit quick because we are quite behind, so I do apologize for that. I do have shit to do tonight, unfortunately. Special counsel demands Wisconsin Election Commission turn over the 2020 evidence. Special counsel Mike Gableman voiced concerns in a September 9th letter regarding election integrity that he sent to Wisconsin Election Commission. I hereby request that you and your office preserve any and all records and evidence, including but not limited to information retained on any and all voting machines, such as media data, router information, and or access logs. Gableman stated in a letter addressed to the WEC chairperson, Megan Wolf. Wow. Gableman asked the commission to send his office any information regarding intentional or unintentional destruction of records between the November 3rd election and the date of the notice. Gableman said his request includes information regarding any otherwise routine software updates to election systems that might have in the past or will in the future corrupt or erase or otherwise compromise relevant records, or which might obstruct examination and investigation. The special counsel, you know what? You know what's interesting? I'm going to stop reading that. We all know the recounts going on in Arizona. Wisconsin was kind of hesitant to do it, but they're jumping on it more. We have other states talking about it too. What if, and this is just a big what if this mandate that he's trying to push really does get these states to be like, you know what? We're going to double check on this. What happens, because we kind of have an idea what might be coming out of the Arizona report. What happens if you do get enough states to say there was something wrong? We double checked again and we found evidence of malfeasance. What happens then? We had kind of already talked about this like last week, I believe. But at that point, I said there's no way Donald Trump would ever get back in. I mean, they wouldn't do that, right? But it would be unprecedented. And there was a story or a news article, I think, that was talking about that, how technically, if it was provable that it would be required, however, that they didn't think that the Democrats in office would give up their power. If you have, and this is just a hypothetical, if you have these states come out and do these audits with this mandate thing, because the mandate, a lot of governors don't like it. Maybe we get more states doing this. Let's say they do find evidence, right? And they present it. And the Democrats are saying, fuck you, I don't give a shit. It's too fucking late anyway. We're going to just continue on. At that point, do states secede? Is that the point of the straw breaking the camel's back? I don't know if we're there yet, but it's an exciting time we're living in. All right, LA sheriff slams the attack on Larry Elder. How is this not a hate crime? Exactly. She's dressed up in a fucking gorilla outfit, throwing eggs at him and calling bad names, some of which might have been the N-word. See. How is this not a hate crime? Because woke privilege means a white woman can wear a gorilla mask and attack a black man without fear of being called a racist. Where's the outrage from our politicians? Exactly. The unidentified woman, how was there no police there? Who was wearing a gorilla mask when she attacked his team, throwing an egg and missing him. When Elder's security guard confronted her, she hit him in the face. That's assault. She should be arrested. Vavaneva, a Democrat who frequently criticizes the woke left, encouraged people to consider the reaction if the tables were turned. Just imagine the outrage. Yeah, if that was a black Democrat and a white Republican lady. Can you imagine? We would have never, he continued. People need to be held accountable on both sides of the aisle. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Why didn't Gavin Newsom call out this reprehensible behavior? LA issued a press release Thursday night saying the two men also attacked Elder's security guard and asked for the public's help in identifying those suspects. So they're at least looking, as well as the masked woman. How about having a police detail with you, Larry? Is that possible to do? Can we get that going? Elder quipped that the woman who attacked him might be one of the 20,000 felons from our prisons released by our soft-on-crime governor. Good quip. If I were a Democrat, obviously this would have called systematic racism. They'd be calling it a hate crime. I don't like to play that game, he said. This video, he was going to respond to that, but I would imagine it's basically what he just said there. Okay, Arizona divests its Unilever bonds over Ben & Jerry's Israel move. Just words in here that I don't really understand, so I wanted to read this. Okay, at least Douchey is saying the right thing. He's saying it, but he didn't promise that he was going to fight it. You know what I mean? She might have one in her school baking book. Ooh, that'd be cool. 60 servings? That's a little bit much, dude. We have very small stomachs. Yeah, break that down, way down to like 2. 2 servings. Well, I guess the math to break it down is a baker's percent, not regular math. Okay, you're just talking about baking. She uses cooks.com. That's cool. Shaking my head, I saw this. It was bad. She literally hit him, and no one did anything. I know. That is freaking assault. At the very least, an attempted assault with the egg. And definitely a hate crime. She dressed in a monk. If that was a if that was a Democrat, if that was Barack Obama, that would have been aired forever. Every time anybody, you can't talk bad about Barack Obama because racism. Why not about Larry Edwards? Because he's not black. You know how I know he's not black? He's not on the plantation. It's not about your color of your skin. It's about, do you buy into the plantation or not? Are you still on Team Blue? If you're on Team Blue, you're good to go. If you're not on Team Blue, then you're white. And anything white is bad. But if you're on Team Blue, you're not even white. Did you know that? You're not white. You don't even have to worry about white guilt because you're so fucking woke that you're out there protecting black lives by dressing up in a monkey mask, throwing an egg at a white man in blackface. Pretty much. All right, I'm not going to read a lot of this, but I am kind of curious what's going on here. So, Arizona has sold off $93 million in Unilever bonds, whatever that is, and plans to sell the remaining $50 million it invested in the global consumer product company over subsidiary Ben & Jerry's decision to stop selling its ice cream in Israeli-occupied territories by the state with anti-Israel boycott laws. Okay, so yes, Ben & Jerry doesn't like Israel that much. Something with Palestine. I mean, Israel, the more I learn about the way they conduct their business, they have mandates. They absolutely have mandates. They probably had them for quite a while. I don't know how long they've had them, but they have them. Israel's not that great of place for freedom. It's probably the freest place in the Middle East-ish, depending on what you are. We had the one person from Palestine here one time, which, you know what? I would love to talk to that guy again at some point. We'll probably need to learn more about what's going on over there. And the Justice Department sues Texas over the state's new anti-abortion law, if you weren't surprised by that. The Justice Department sued Texas over a state law that creates severe criminal penalties for most abortions, arguing that it was enacted in open defiance of the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't say anything about abortion. I'm sorry. You can tell me all you want that somehow, some way, they figured out that that's what the founding fathers were talking about. You trying to tell me the founding fathers, in their all-seeing wisdom, somehow very sneakily put in that you can have an abortion. But the Second Amendment, which is very plainly written, only referred to muskets and only referred to the militia, which is now our National Guard. Right. The lawsuit filed on Thursday in federal court asked the federal judge to declare that the law is invalid, to enjoin its enforcement, and to protect the rights of Texas has violated. The act is clearly unconstitutional under the long-standing Supreme Court precedent. Well, the Supreme Court ruled on it recently and said that it's not. Attorney General Merrick Garland said in the news conference, yada, yada. The Justice Department argues the law unlawfully infringes on the constitutional rights of women and violates the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution, which says federal law supersedes state law. Federal officials also concerned other states could enact similar laws that would deprive the citizens of their constitutional rights. You know, those constitutional rights we give a shit about. Not the Second Amendment, not your First Amendment, but your right to kill an unborn baby. That's the constitutional right we care about. Federal officials are also... I read that. It is settled. Constitutional law that a state may not prohibit any woman from making the ultimate decision to terminate her pregnancy before viability. What about partial birth abortions? That's a thing. But Texas has done just that. The Texas law known as SB 8 prohibits abortions. We already know that. Let's see. Pressure mounted on the Justice Department, not only from the White House. President Joe Biden has said that the law is almost un-American. You know what's un-American? Making people have a shot. That's un-American. Taking people's right to own a firearm away. That's un-American. America was founded on these principles, these basic principles of freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of my body, my choice when I put something in it or I don't. And definitely your Second fucking Amendment. Why do you skip over those that are very plainly written and jump over to some other one that you have to somehow manipulate and say, well, I think they were talking about abortion right here. All right. Earlier this week, Garland vowed the Justice Department would step in to enforce a federal law known as the of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. The law, commonly known as FACE Act, normally prohibits physically obstructing access to abortion clinics by blocking entrances or threatening to use force to intimidate or interfere. You know, like they did in 2008 when there was an election for our first black president, you know, and we had a whole bunch of Black Panthers sitting outside of voting booths asking people how they were going to vote, and they had billy clubs and other weapons. That kind of problem? Yeah. No, that was fine. That was democracy. That was your right to vote. Ugh. Okay. The lawsuit filed on Thursday seeks an immediate injunction to prohibit enforcing the law in Texas. Under the statute, someone could bring a lawsuit even if they have no connection to the woman. Yeah, I know about that. I don't agree with the way they're doing it. I don't like that. The Attorney General also argued Texas law could expose some federal employees at different agencies across the government to civil liability for doing their jobs. The Texas law is the nation's biggest curb to abortion since the Supreme Court affirmed in the landmark 73 decision Roe v. Wade that women have a constitutional right to an abortion. And I would really love for them to do that again. Abortion providers have said they will comply, but already some of Texas' roughly 24 abortion clinics have temporarily stopped offering abortion altogether. Clinics in neighboring states, meanwhile, have seen a surge in patients from Texas. And it's the same thing when you enact gun control. Californians come over here all the time and buy, well, I don't know if they buy guns. They probably buy them from friends. But you can buy magazines without a state ID, right? Not a 10-rounder. You can buy all the parts to build a rifle other than the lower here and take it back. Biden administration's ploy represents a desperate attempt to stop the life-saving law by any means necessary, the group said in a statement. A spokesperson for Texas Governor Abbott said his office was confident the courts would uphold the law. The most precious freedom is life itself. Texas passed a law that ensures that the life of every child with a heartbeat will be spared from the ravages of abortion. The law provides no exception in cases of rape or incest. The Centers for Reproductive Rights, which is representing Texas abortion clinics suing over the law, welcomed the Biden administration stepping in. Here's the thing. And I still am. You know, if a girl gets raped or it's incest and she wants to get an abortion, I still wish she wouldn't, but at the same time, I understand it, especially if it's detrimental to the woman, right? And it might kill her. However, I've seen the numbers of how many the percentage of abortions is because of rape or incest. And some of that could just, well, he raped me. Well, you're going to have more than I got raped. It's a game changer. The Department of Justice has joined the legal battle to restore constitutionally protected abortion access in Texas and disarm vigilantes looking to collect their bounties, said Nancy Northrup, as the group's president. This person, deputy director of the ACLU, said in a statement that the lawsuit is a critical first step to righting this injustice for the people of Texas and to prevent this catastrophe from playing out in other states that have pledged to follow Texas's lead. And Moridi said in an interview that she expected the lawsuit to move quickly, possibly reaching the Supreme Court within weeks. Hasn't it already been to the Supreme Court? Wasn't that the whole thing, that it was already to the Supreme Court? For fuck's sake. All right. I got a blue lighter, and I'm lighting my blue glass pipe filled with the green stuff in it. Dude, we just got something new. Y'all want to see it? I'm sure Riddle would want to show it. I'm sure the founding fathers would have addressed that. Bill of Rights is only real law. All the rest is corporate legalese, papal bullshit. Agree. Yeah. They should allow for rape or incest as long as there is an active criminal investigation. Maybe. Riddle, you wanna show them your new device that you got? So pretty. It is. It's pretty. So we went to today is Friday, so it's payday, and we decided we had to go pick up a few things, and we decided to have a new device to work with. There you go, bring it into the shot. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that nice? Rainbow glass. It's all rainbowy. Yeah. I don't know how she do, but it looks cool. So we'll be firing that up later. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got for you. We only had few people stick by. I don't know if Mule was stayed here. Mule, you still here? Dude, so everything is still technically on for the trip. However, we'll see. It's kind of like one of these things I'm still planning for. I still expect to do it, but at the same time, I understand things might come up and I might have to cancel last minute. So just so you know, Mule Team and Irish, obviously, and anybody else that I'm meeting up with, including the person that I'm actually doing this trip for, I will be contacting if anything changes. George Washington grew, so should everyone. Yeah. It's a medicine in a lot of ways. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Check out the descriptions down below. If this is your first time watching, definitely check out the descriptions down below. We have all the places to follow me. So if you like this kind of content and you want to make sure you watch it, check out my socials, including my Discord, where we have a private group. If you do check out my Discord, make sure you let me know who you are from YouTube, so I let you in, because it is a private group. Only people that I know that are watchers of this channel are allowed in there. And if I see somebody who's not a member of this channel, or I don't recognize their name and you didn't tell me that this is you from YouTube, I will kick you with a nice little message saying, let me know who you are on the YouTubes, and then you can come back in, kind of thing. So it's as protected as I can make it. Other than that, we have my other YouTube channel, my D Live, which I'm streaming live to right now at the same time as YouTube. And then also down below are all the causes I believe in support. We have the GOA, Gun Owners of America, the only one that I think is doing a decent job trying to protect our rights for the Second Amendment. We have ProjectRecover.org, an organization that goes out and looks for lost service members and returns their families to their returns their remains to their families. We have the PH Association. That's a disease that I currently live with and am dying of, and I'm sure Big Pharma is working on a cure as we speak, because the medication that prolongs my life at $18,000 a month, I'm sure they don't want that money. They want to cure me. We also have all the ways to donate to the channel if you want to. I did forget Rally Point Irish. I'll get to that. We have all the ways to donate to the channel if you want to do that. However, if you want to help out the channel without money, liking, commenting, subscribing, and the biggest one is sharing this content with people you think would like it. Now, speaking of Rally Point Irish as a cause I believe in and support, that's my good friend Irish USMC vet. He set up a GoFundMe trying to get some money raised to buy a piece of land where vets can stay room and board free while learning new skills like farming, blacksmithing, gunsmithing. So there are going to be classes, there's going to be housing, there's going to be all sorts of stuff, right? It's going to be a whole thing. So go check that out. I do donate 50% of everything this channel brings in through donations, because we are no longer monetized, directly to Rally Point Irish. So if you do decide to donate, just know that. And that's pretty much all I got for you. So I will see you most likely tomorrow for the Patriot Bible Chat. I think I need to do it. I kind of missed doing it last Saturday, and we have quite a bit to talk about. So look for the Patriot Bible Chat tomorrow if you're into that. If not, I will see you back here on Monday. Until then, make sure to keep that family close. Watch out for that government, and try to live as free as you can in the tyrannical world we find ourselves living in. Man, it's getting more and more tyrannical every day. Until then, live as free as you can, and peace.